Alright guys, in today's video I'm going to be going over the best to worst Total War games in my opinion. I'm going to try to be as objective as possible, give good reasoning for my opinions. Also, if you guys are not currently subscribed, please do so. It keeps me motivated, trying to hit 700 subs by the end of June. But anyway, let's get into this. Now, starting off with Shogun Total War, in my opinion, it's a bad game. Not because the game itself is bad, but because when I've played it, it's been the Steam port, and the Steam port crashes a lot. It's really buggy, not well optimized, and I don't own the game on disc or have a computer old enough, even if I did, to go back and play it. So unfortunately, I have to give Shogun Total War bad tier. But I would really like to put it up here because of what it did for the series. So if this game didn't do well, the series wouldn't exist, let's be honest. But unfortunately, I have to put it in bad. Same with Medieval. Simply just because they're too old, they're too outdated. If I wanted to teach a friend how to play the franchise, I'm not going to let them or show them to play these games. Too old, not well optimized on Steam. Just not good Total War games for 2025 or even 10 years ago in 2015. Just too old. If they did better Steam ports, it would be completely different. Now, my first Total War was Rome Total War. Started playing it in 2012. My brother showed me how to play them. Now, Rome Total War, being my first, has some nostalgia, so I kind of want to put it in best. I really like the time period. The Civil War aspect when you're playing as the Romans is a really cool feature, and I wish more Total War games had a great endgame like this, some of which are really lacking it. But there are some issues with Rome Total War. The pathfinding and siege battles is not very good. It is starting to get dated. I do think this is better than the remaster, in my opinion. But the mods on Rome Total War are extremely good. Plenty of mods. As many mods as there are in Medieval 2, I'd argue. We're going to put Rome Total War probably in great tier. It is my favorite. But do I think it's the best? Honestly, no. I think it's fair that you can like something more than something while admitting it's objectively worse. There is one game I would put above Rome Total War, and that is Medieval 2. Medieval 2 is basically just a mod for Rome 1, let's be honest. Exact same engine, exact same UI. The papal mechanic for the Catholic factions is kind of like a reworked Senate mechanic for Rome 1. But there's more mods in Medieval 2. It's more modernized. The controls have held up better, even though they're mostly the same controls. It is the only Total War game where you can, in a siege battle, if you built the ladders, where you can actually move the ladders and take them off the wall. Which I really like. The mod scene in Medieval 2 is really good. Modders remade Rome 1 in Medieval 2. So you can get updated stuff for that. The map is bigger. It was the first Total War game to let you go to the New World and have gunpowder in it. To my knowledge, unless there's some in Shogun 1, but I'm not entirely sure on that. But to my knowledge, as far as I know, Medieval 2 is the first one to let you have gunpowder. And I know it's the first one to let you go to the New World. Plus, you have the emergent factions of the Mongols and the Timurids to just come in and wreck everything if you don't know how to deal with it. Especially playing as the Byzantines or the Turks. It can be really rough dealing with the Mongols or the Timurids. But I like Medieval 2. Personally, it's not my favorite, but it is up there. Between both of these games, if you include non-Steam hours playing off the disc copy, I easily have 5,000 hours between both of them. But I do think Medieval 2 is objectively the best. But moving on from Medieval 2, we have Empire Total War. I kind of want to put it down here. I have 2,500 hours in this game. About 500 of that is vanilla. The rest is modded. There are some cool mods. Empire 2 is a really good mod. I really like Minor Factions Revenge. If you're a American Civil War buff, the ACW mod for this is pretty fun. The AI sucks. The only good battles in Empire are the naval battles, and I don't particularly like naval battles because they're really slow, in my opinion. I think Empire was too ambitious for its time. Like, if they were to make Empire Total War now, I think it would be a lot better. Or if they made an Empire 2. But the teleporters on the map are kind of tacky. They take you from Europe to the Americas. I think it's kind of tacky. But I understand why they had to do it due to hardware limitations at the time. But there is also a bug in Empire that kind of removes some strategic features in Rome 2. Which, there is a bug in Empire that lets you essentially move all over the map as long as you don't use all your movement speed. I'll leave a link in the description to a video if I can find one showing it. But because of that bug, they removed the feature of detaching individual units from your armies. And that's why you can't do it in Rome 2 or any Total War after that, except for the Rome Remaster. I'm going to put Empire in mediocre. It's going to probably be at the bottom of mediocre. I don't think I can put it down here in bad just because Empire 2 is really good. Dark Mod Empire is solid. And other mods make Empire playable. But the fact that they had to do that with mods and make this game decent is kind of bad. Actually, you know what? We're going to put Empire in bad. These two, we're actually going to make a new tier. Wait. Messed up. Haven't played, got to go down here. Mediocre above bad. We're going to make... Wait. Alright, we're going to make a new tier. Add row below. And we're going to rename this one. Too old. For these two. Because I don't want these two games being on the same tier as Empire. Empire is pretty bad. Unfortunately. I like the era. I can have fun in Empire. But objectively speaking, Empire is kind of bad. Moving on to Napoleon. Napoleon Empire kind of had the Rome to Attila dynamic, but to a worse extent. If you want a Gunpowder Grain campaign from around the same time period, I know there's like a 100-year difference between the two, then you have to play Empire. But if you want better battles and more diverse campaigns, since you have the Egyptian campaign, the Italian campaign, and the European campaign, the Peninsular campaign, and the campaigns of the Coalition, you kind of have to play Napoleon. I have 1,200 hours in Napoleon. I really like Napoleon's battles. NTW3 is a really good mod for multiplayer. And I mean multiplayer specifically. I don't enjoy the campaign for NTW3. Which I know is not the main focus of the mod. Napoleon has some really good battles, even in vanilla. And I'd say it's a fairly skillful Total War game to actually play and get into. So I'm going to put Napoleon. I'm going to put Napoleon in really good. I really like Napoleon Total War. It has its issues. And it is built off the shell of Empire. So it does have some of the same bugs. But it's vastly improved upon. And I like Napoleon Total War. I really like that period of history. So it goes up for me. Now, Shogun 2, in my opinion, has the best overall battles in the series. I haven't played Fall of the Samurai very much, so I can't speak on the gun battles in Shogun 2. But I can speak on the traditional combat with like swords, spears, arrows, that stuff. I think it has the best battles. I really like the realm divide mechanic. The endgame is really cool in Shogun 2 because of it. I just like Shogun 2. Shogun 2 is a great game. Honestly. I really like Shogun 2. I don't think it's quite as good as Realm 1, but that might mostly be nostalgia. But I really like Shogun 2. And I'm sure Fall of the Samurai is probably really good too, since it's a Total War Saga game, but I haven't played it yet. I own it, I just haven't had time to play it. Now, moving into where some people say Total War started to go downhill. Rome 2. Rome 2, instead of CA trying to fix the bug from Empire, they just made it to where you can't detach units from your general, which I do not like. I'm very outspoken about that. I like the battles in Rome 2, except for like the walled sieges. They just take too long. There's some issues with Rome 2 on legendary difficulty, where like a Oathsworn general or any general unit in particular can just sit there and just trash your low tier early game units forever. That's really annoying. But if you don't play on legendary, you don't have that issue. Another thing I really don't like about Rome 2, and you notice if you watch the streams, or I'm streaming Rome 2 campaigns, is I despise the political system in Rome 2. It's not because I think it's hard. I think it's because it's tedious and annoying. So when I play Rome 2 for fun, I use mods that remove the political system basically entirely. And I just focus on the city building, the battles, conquering the map, that stuff. That's how I enjoy Rome 2. Now, Rome 2 did kind of have some stupid exploits like the Raiori spam, if you consider that like an exploit. And the launch was really bad, but I'm not going to hold that against it. At this point, I got Rome 2 shortly after launch, but I still really like the time period. Rome 2 has a bunch of DLCs, a lot of unique and cool factions in it. The battles, I'd say, are fairly solid. Some of the factions are kind of reskins of each other, like the Germans and the Celts are basically reskins of each other. There's not a whole lot of difference there. And in between, like, different Gallic and factions, or Gallic and Britannic, there's not a whole lot of difference there. But for the most part, I do like Rome 2. I don't think it's mediocre. It's definitely... Rome 2 is somewhere in between here. It's between one of these two. Rome 2 does have really good mods. DEI is solid. Parabellum is also fairly good. My issue with both Parabellum and DEI is the battles take decently long. And my main issue with mods is if the battles drag, I'm less motivated to actually like fight them. If they're long and strategic and have value, it's one thing, but they're just long for the sake of being long. Kind of how I feel about DEI. Which I might be wrong about that. I only have about 100-ish hours in DEI. So I might be wrong about that. But I do really like DEI. I like the Constantine mod. I like the Age of Bronze mod, as you guys seen in the top 5 mod review. Rome 2 is really good. I don't know if I'd say it's better or worse than Napoleon. These two could go either way. Probably like this, just because Rome 2 has a larger scope, bunch of different time periods, more campaigns, more diversity in its battles than Napoleon has. So I'd put Rome 2 above Napoleon, but they're really close for me. Like, really close. Rome 2 also has the stupid Teutoburg Forest bug, which if you don't know, I'll leave a link in the description to a video that has it. And I hate that. So, anyway, moving on. Total War Attila. I've kind of ragged on Attila, and I made a video saying that it's basically a Rome 2 DLC, because it is. But Attila does have really solid battles. It has some really challenging campaigns with the Western Roman Empire. And some of the other, like, really small factions are kind of challenging. It is the only Total War game, to my knowledge, that actually has a faction with the Jewish religion. So it gets bonus points for that in terms of uniqueness. But eliminating Attila is a pain in the ass. The majority of the map ends up devastated in the majority of campaigns. The Western Roman Empire or the Eastern Roman Empire, if you're not playing as them, rarely survive past the first cutscene in any major capacity. But for the two strongest factions on the map, you'd think they'd survive at least past the first one. I know it's around the part where the Western Roman Empire started to collapse, but it should put up more of a fight than that. It puts up more of a fight in Barbarian Invasion than Attila. Attila is also extremely buggy, and CA abandoned Attila to make more Rome 2 DLCs historically. I think Attila, it's definitely not bad. It's not down here. I wouldn't say Attila is really good. It does have good battles. It has some decent mods like Medieval 1212 and was it Ancient Empires? But like the performance issues, the Grand Campaign not being different enough or far enough in time to keep it from being like a Rome 2 DLC. And the fact that a lot of stuff is just reused assets from Rome 2. It's just mediocre. Like, I can have fun on Attila, it's just not better than Rome 2. It should have been a $15 DLC. Yeah, we wouldn't have got Age of Charlemagne, but the Justinian part could have been made through mods. Arguably, Age of Charlemagne could have been done through mods potentially, too. But Attila should have just been Barbarian Invasion for Rome 2, just like Rome 1's Barbarian Invasion expansion pack. But unfortunately, it just wasn't. And though I like Attila's battles, they're not good enough to carry the game by itself, in my opinion. Now, moving into the Warhammer games, I just started playing the Warhammer games for the most part. And from what I've heard from people like Legend of Total War in his videos, people in my stream, watching other videos, that they're all basically the same game minus some features that have been added over the years. So I really don't know how to rate them. From what I've played, I would say that Total War Warhammer is probably... It's probably too old to play if you're talking about the Warhammer games. Just because Immortal Empires exists in Warhammer 3 and Warhammer 2. And from what I've heard from you guys on stream and just by watching other videos, there's no point in going back and playing it unless you just want nostalgia. But it's definitely not bad. I have a little bit of hours in Warhammer 1. It feels weird putting a game that came in 2016 and too old. But I think that it's just outclassed by the other two. Now, Warhammer 2, a lot of people like Warhammer 2. A lot of people tell me it's better than Warhammer 3. From my experience, I like Warhammer 2. I definitely have by far played more Warhammer 3 than the other ones. And I'm not super into Warhammer. I want to preface that. I don't know much about the lore. So it's kind of hard for me to get into Warhammer. And I haven't bought any of the DLCs for the games. Just the free stuff from CA. Very, on Steam. So, the Warhammer games... It's kind of hard for me to rate. I'm going to put Warhammer 2... I'm going to put Warhammer 2 in mediocre. We might revisit this tier list at some point. But there's a chance that Warhammer 2 goes up here or could move. But so far, it's just mediocre. And to be honest, I kind of prefer Warhammer 3. But moving on. Pharaoh and Britannia, I have not played. Don't own it. Don't plan on buying it. Because from what I've heard from it, or about it, is that it feels like a DLC for Attila. And if I think Attila is a DLC for Rome 2, why would I buy a DLC for a DLC? So, I haven't played Friends of Britannia. And to get it out of the way, I haven't played Troy either. I missed getting it for free by 1 hour on Epic. And honestly, I'm not really into the the fantasy stuff in Total War games. I'm giving Warhammer a shot. And I know there is a more realistic version of Troy, but from what I've heard, the battles in Troy just aren't good. So I don't really have an interest in buying it. I might, though, but probably not. Now, Three Kingdoms I think is bad. It's just bad. It's probably better than Empire because it has better diplomacy. But I played this game for 4 hours and refunded it. I got really bored of it. Nothing really grab my attention. I'm not super informed on the time period that Three Kingdoms takes place in, but from what I've heard from people who really are into the period, that none of the start dates for Free Kingdom actually happen during the Free Kingdoms like time period. Don't quote me on that. Look it up for yourself. That's just something I've heard on Three Kingdoms. The battles in Three Kingdoms are kind of mediocre. The diplomacy was good. I like the diplomacy in Three Kingdoms. The battles didn't grab my attention. I'm not a super fan of it because it kind of feels like fantasy. I know there's records mode, but I'm just not into it. So, and it bored the crap out of me in 4 hours. So, Three Kingdoms gets put in the bed. I don't like Three Kingdoms. I might try it again in the future, but for right now, it's in bed. Rome Remastered. Damn, I wish this game was good. If they would have kept the UI from the original one, it would be easily up here. You cannot revert the UI. I haven't found a mod that will change the UI back. But, alright, we're going to go from what would have made it the best, and we're going to move it down. The UI is pretty bad. It does have improved AI. It has more improved visuals and battle controls. The faction intros were changed. I'm pretty sure, if I remember right. So it goes down a tier for that. Modability is really good on it, from what I've heard. But I don't really play a lot of those mods because the UI sucks. So... it's mostly the UI, I'm going to be honest, keeping it from being up here. Faction intros, they've changed some stuff. I'm pretty sure they removed, like, Themyscira, one of the Easter egg settlements from the original. I haven't played it enough, and I haven't looked for it, so I could be wrong about that. They did add merchants from Medieval 2, but honestly, merchants don't matter in Medieval 2 or in the remaster. I have about somewhere between 400 and 500 hours in the remaster, and if it was really good or great, it would be up here, and I'd have a couple thousand hours on it. It's in between here. I don't enjoy it enough to put it in really good, so we'll put it in mediocre. I enjoy it more than Attila. But none of these, even though it's right next to bad, I don't think any of these are bad games. Maybe Warhammer 2 above... maybe Warhammer 2 at the top of mediocre. All these games are about the same, in my opinion, but Rome Remastered is definitely better than Attila. In my opinion. As of right now, recording this on June 18th, 2025. Moving into Warhammer 3, I think Warhammer 3 is... Warhammer 3 has some complicated stuff if you really get into it and try to do it right and do everything right. But if you go into Warhammer 3 blind, like I did, and play it, it's pretty fun. The races and stuff and how each faction plays is really unique, and I like that. Khorne kicked my ass on stream, and I didn't know how to deal with it, so I kind of just auto-resolved it after fighting like 5 or 6 battles with Khorne, and I couldn't beat him. It's the undefeated one. I don't know the names of lords other than Karl Franz and the undefeated Khorne dude, and Kemmler, the vampire dude. I don't know the names of lords in Warhammer just because I don't have the playtime. But Warhammer 3, I think, is a really good game. A lot of people would probably say it's the best Total War game. I'm just not into Warhammer. I don't see myself spending money on DLCs to get more content for Warhammer. Maybe the Tomb King DLC, because that just looks interesting to me, playing as like desert mummies. But I'm really Warhammer 3 and really good. I can't give it any higher. Maybe if I took the time, got into the lore, played it more. I'm going to be streaming this game soon. It's just a matter of when I get the time to do it. again, and I've streamed it a lot, and you guys have really liked it, and the channel's grown a lot from doing it. But Warhammer 3, I would say, is really good. Pharaoh. I don't want to be mean on Pharaoh or Pharaoh's Dynasties, but I kind of have to. Any one of these games, even the ones I haven't played, I could probably sit down and play for a couple 100 hours. Easy. Even Three Kingdoms, though I got bored of it in 4 hours, I can see the appeal of it and keep playing it and probably get between 1 and 300 hours. Nothing crazy in it. But Pharaoh just doesn't grab my attention. It really just bores me to death. I'm not a fan of the resource trading mechanic that got introduced in Troy. I'm not a fan of Pharaoh's battles. The blood pack in Pharaoh is decent, but the fact that you have to pay for it is stupid. Which every Total War game, I think after Empire or Napoleon has that. Maybe not the Warhammer games, but I know Shogun 2 has it, Attila has it, Rome 2 has it. Three Kingdoms might have it. I know Pharaoh has it. But Pharaoh's just boring. Like, it doesn't grip my attention. If I want to play a Bronze Age Collapse Total War game, I'm going to play the Age of Bronze mod for Rome 2. It's like, just doesn't grip me. The battles aren't fun. The campaign is boring. The tutorial was actually somewhat like interesting and fun for whatever reason. But I just can't get into it. Something about Pharaoh keeps me from getting into it. So at that point, I think it is the worst Total War game made. Any one of these I could put a couple hundred to several thousand hours into. Some of which I do. I have 5,000 between these two. I have 1,200, 2,500. Rome 2. Between my Steam account and my dad's old Steam account, I probably have 1,000 hours in. Even Attila, which I think is mid, I have between 400 and 500 hours in. Pharaoh, I'm really struggling to hit even 50. It just bores me. I have not completed a campaign in Pharaoh. So, unfortunately, Pharaoh is the worst Total War game. In my opinion. Pharaoh's Dynasties isn't much better, from what I've heard. But anyway, this is my opinion on every Total War game. My personal favorite, though, will probably always be Rome 1, just because of nostalgia. But I can admit that Medieval 2 is a better game than Rome 1. From its expansions, to its modability, to all of that stuff. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I spent some time thinking about each game during the video and outside the video. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Peace.